right, so we're here with our friends from Blessings of Hope. I toured their facilities about 3 weeks ago, and I thought it was a very awesome thing that you guys have going on. The biggest thing I noticed is all your guys' volunteers you guys have. I was wondering how you guys got such a great volume of volunteers to help out your guys' cause.
I don't know.
Who wouldn't sign up to hang out with them for free? Todd, did you volunteer on the spot?
Oh, yeah.
He basically ditched me and said, "Can I go there?"
Yeah. It's an organic growth, and people are excited to help at Blessings of Hope. One of the things that we really work on hard is so when the volunteers come in, their project for them is ready to go, and they can come in and make a big difference. Because what we find out, or what I don't like to volunteer somewhere where it's like, yeah, I think you can maybe help over there.
Yeah, no.
And you're not sure what they're doing, you don't know how to do it, and you don't know, or am I actually making a difference?
Right.
Yeah.
So we try really hard to have things ready to go. When the volunteers walk in, the volunteer coordinators are greeting them and taking them to their table and explaining what they're going to do today, and then they have at it, and they have as much work as they can do for their whole shift.
He was very impressed. Tell me, I mean, we saw blueberries being picked through, zucchini. We saw everything, didn't we?
Yeah, I thought it was cool how you guys sort through, even though like I know how you were explaining, like one, like say the zucchinis, one might not be good, but a lot of the others are. So just cutting off like the bad parts and just processing, I thought that was really cool on how you guys did that. Also, I noticed that in the back you guys had, I guess for the volunteers, if they have kids, that there's a nice area that they have where they can play.
Yeah.
I thought that was
We
really
actually
cool.
have three shifts a week where any age children can come in. There's always stuff they can do. Just for instance, if there's candy that's in a wrapper, it doesn't matter if they just put a couple pieces in a 5-minute period of time. They're helping. They're getting involved.
Absolutely, and they're allowed to eat a few. if
Yeah.
it's in-
Yeah,
I knew. I
by
caught that.
Parent permission.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's step back here. We have Scott, Aaron, and David. None of these guys are brothers, as far as I know. Correct? No. Even
Spiritual
though you
brothers.
exactly. Oh, if you spend enough time with them, you wonder how they aren't. Let's step back and just talk about your story, how you guys came into this. And Scott's very new, but just talk about that. Step back and give us the story.
So I might as well start from the very beginning.
Oh, that's where everything starts.
And so when I was growing up, my dad was in a wheelchair, and we were really poor. And so somebody would bring us boxes of food, and I usually couldn't wait till they leave to see what they brought. It was like Christmas every time, and at that point in my life, I thought I want to do something with my life to help people. And not realizing that, 30 years later, we're distributing hundreds and thousands of boxes of food a day.
Yeah. Take us though from you being a child.
Yep.
What did you do? What work did you do? And how did this start? Did this start on the side?
So what happened is when I was a teenager, I was dreaming of owning a big business, making a lot of money so I can help people that way.
Okay.
Which is great. That is awesome. And that was my whole, I was so focused on that. I was involved in different leadership training, a lot of different things, because my focus was on I need to learn in order to do what I need to do. So at 21, me and my brothers started a deck company, building decks.
What was the name of the deck company?
Decks R Us.
I love
If
that.
you need a deck, go to Decks R Us. They're great.
Okay.
And so then we got born again. We got on fire for the Lord. We're just like, wow, this is amazing.
So did you grow up? What faith did you grow
Amish.
up in? Okay.
Grew up
okay.
Amish.
But
So-
then you got fire.
Yeah, we
Okay.
got fire.
Okay.
So we just thought that everybody, I mean, this is so amazing. I mean, the Bible says this, and look, this is just amazing.
Yes.
We thought everybody wants to know, and we started telling everyone. I mean, it was just like oozing out of us, right? Well, we found out pretty quickly that not everybody wants to know about what the Lord's doing and how amazing this is, and you know how. Wow, I mean, God wants to change this whole. Wants to bring His glory in, and this is going to change everything, right? So we got. We could no longer be in good standings with the Amish church.
Okay.
So that was.
We were getting too radical.
We were getting
Okay.
too radical.
So can I? Did you guys know each other at that
Yes.
point? So did you grow up like? Did you?
So-
How did you know each
So-
other?
My
Just
brother
tell me.
married his sister.
Oh my
Simple.
goodness.
And we were
Okay,
like,
fine.
What, 12, 10? No, we were
No,
like 10.
I think I was 13. You were 15 or something
Some-
like that.
anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were
Okay.
still.
That's how
So,
we got-
but your whole families were too radical, or just parts of
well,
you? Okay.
most of our families.
Okay.
Most of my family, most of his family are no longer with the Old Order
Okay.
Church. We're
Okay.
excommunicated.
So,
you were too. Okay.
so we had this deck company, right?
Yep.
And I think we had 15 employees. Almost all of them are Old Order Amish,
sure.
and we're like, and so there. So it's either. So if I stay there, they're gonna walk,
Right. Right.
and I was like, there's no point in pulling this. I mean, it was just like that's just ridiculous. We're just basically we all pretty much gave the business away,
Mm-hmm.
and so we hey, God's gonna provide.
Yep.
We were just like, wow, this, we were so on fire for the Lord. We didn't even hardly think.
Right.
We're like, just like, God's gonna provide, and we're gonna figure it out, and we're not gonna pull this company apart. They're just gonna keep on, and they're still building decks. Praise the Lord, and now
Yes.
they're supported for Blessings of Hope, which is amazing.
Awesome.
So
Full circle.
yeah, full circle. So then I started helping at an outreach in Harrisburg. And I was like, I just like fell in love with outreach. Well, think about this. So most of the people helping out this outreach were retired.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. We work with a lot of retired people at Blessings of Hope too. But so I'm a 26-year-old guy, and I am fired up. I am
Just brought
really
a whole
strong.
new life to the
I'm-
whole outreach.
Yes. Yeah.
I am strong. I know how to make stuff happen.
Mhm.
So, I mean, very quickly, I'm like I just make stuff happen around there.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, you need to meet. So they started introducing me to other people, and after a bit, so we started in our 3-car garage, and so our first truck was a Plymouth,
Okay.
Plymouth Breeze, little car.
little Plymouth Breeze.
Uh huh.
And so I'd come back from the outreach. I mean, so leftover stuff from there, I'd just pack everything in the car. And I mean,
I
there'd
can
be-
envision.
when Aaron says pack, we're talking he's using half of the driver's
Yes.
seat. Everything else is full, and when you think it's full, he can get another skid of product in there.
I'm certain of that.
He takes
I
it
am
out of the
certain.
boxes, and all the cracks are full.
I love that.
yeah, I mean, why waste gas?
Yes.
We were like really, really, really tight budget at that point.
Well, it's how you run. It's how you run a business.
So we started in a 3-car garage. We were a 3-car garage for from 2006 to 2010,
Okay.
and
And you were just out. You were supporting your family. In a
so that
sense?
wasn't the only thing that I was doing.
I'm sure.
That was so that was more like a day or two a week,
Okay.
probably maybe 2 days a week.
Okay.
And then I was doing other stuff too.
Sure. To support, absolutely.
Yeah. So 2010 we got our first warehouse. We thought this is amazing. It was the whole room that we were in was 3,600 square feet. We told them, look, we don't need 3,600 square feet. We only need half of it.
Sure you do.
Well, as God seems to enjoy doing, when we get a bigger space, all of a sudden there's connections that we didn't even think of before.
We have never been able to provide a space big enough to sustain the next level of growth.
I
Because there's always, when we provide a bigger opportunity for God to fill, there's just that much more that gets released.
Absolutely.
And we're still, there's just so much product available out there. Just having the capacity to take it is the key.
Oh, absolutely. So you guys went from this garage to the first warehouse. Were you in on this at the beginning with him, or did you kind of help on the side and all that? How did that work?
I was involved from the beginning, but I wasn't active. I was more like a passive. I was
More of a
taking care of the financial side of things.
Not
So-
stuffing
so
his van,
Portal-
not unloading the van.
I wasn't
certainly.
doing the food side.
Yeah.
I was more on the administrative side of
But
things.
on the
early
supportive side of it,
Yeah.
you know, and yeah, you did some food handling.
Of course
Remember
he
the
did.
yogurt?
Oh, the
Talk
yogurt.
about the yogurt.
Oh, let's
But
hear it.
That was when our cooler was 6 foot by 8 foot.
6 foot by 8 foot by 6 foot high.
Okay.
And
I had
we,
to, you know.
we got a phone call from a truck driver that was at a local truck stop. He had 2 skids of organic, fresh processed yogurt. He was from Minnesota. And these 2 skids were overshipped. And there was nothing wrong with it. And he's looking for a dumpster to get rid of it. And somebody said, well, what about, they had heard about what we're doing. And so he contacted us and like, yeah, we want 2 skids of yogurt. We ate yogurt for months.
Yeah, I mean,
But
yogurt
this
went
was
everywhere.
perfect
You know?
condition. I mean, we hand stacked everything into this cooler. It was stacked to the ceiling. It was full.
Is that kind of not the start, but maybe the story that would kind of start the thinking bigger? Where would you say that seed was planted?
So that would have started in 2006.
Okay, you were
So-
already big
So,
mentally.
so, okay, it's just a part of me is just I see opportunity.
Absolutely.
I see vision. Like
You all do.
so I was working with an organization up in Harrisburg, and they have the small warehouse. At that time, I thought it was pretty big, but I think they have around 5,000 square foot
Okay.
of warehouse space, with racking, tall racking, and so I've started hearing and understanding tractor trailer loads of product available.
Right.
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 And I'm like, so I was like, guys, you need this whole. So they were a part of a warehouse where there was 10 other organizations in the same
Understood.
warehouse. I'm like, guys, you need the whole warehouse. I mean, tractor trailers and stuff can come in here, gets redistributed, and all the organizations can get it. And like, where can they go? There's nowhere
Right.
for them to go.
Right.
And Water Street, nope. Nope. Water Street was like,
They'll take
not
a
our,
small
that's not our
amount.
vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have a vision for a big warehouse. We have a decent sized warehouse. We try to maximize it, but our focus is on the homeless shelter.
Right. Right.
The food, we are helping other organizations with food because we want our pantry to stay full.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the best way that we know. But we don't have a vision to grow big.
Right.
And nobody wanted to grow big.
Right.
And so I went, this was Bethesda Mission in Harrisburg. I was
Okay.
working with. So I went up, got to Bethesda Mission the next week, and the director said, come, I want to talk to you in my office. I'm like, yeah, that's a little strange. So we sat down at the desk. I was on one side, he was on the other. And he looked at me and he said, Aaron, when are you going to start that warehouse? I don't really have plans to start a warehouse. I thought I'm sharing vision for you. Well, we don't have a vision to have a big warehouse. Our vision is to sustain our ministries.
Right.
And in the process, we help some other ministries, but that's not our focus. Our focus is on the homeless shelter that we're running. And the programs that we're running with the homeless shelter and getting people out of impoverished situations to get them to a good situation. Okay. And so with tears coming down his cheeks, he's like, look, last week I turned down a tractor trailer load of yogurt. Guess where it went? To the landfill.
Right.
Yesterday I turned down a tractor trailer load of cheese. I really wanted 2 skids of it, but it's all or nothing.
Right. Right.
Guess where it went? To the landfill. So we need this warehouse a whole lot more than you have any idea, which meant me,
Right.
than I have any idea. And I was like, okay.
So how did
Okay.
you guys go from that? Because just like you say, you can't start small, at least in the scale of warehousing. You got, if you're going to start this, you have to start kind of some medium size. What was the first step?
Well, in 2010, he committed to packing 7 boxes a week for a local pastor.
Okay.
And, that's a lot of food. If you have food coming in here and there, and you commit to doing 7 boxes a week, well, knowing Aaron, we knew 7 boxes is only going to be like 1 or 2 weeks,
Right.
then it's going to be 10, then it's going to be
Right.
15, and then it's going to be
Right.
50. So we knew we had to get into it. I'm not even sure how everything started. We just started doing it.
I think the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things, is every step of the way, we were super excited about what God's doing.
Yep.
And we continue to, that's
You
continuation.
didn't feel like you were pushing it. You felt like you
We
were
didn't
kind of
feel
being
like-
led
we didn't
in
feel
this
like-
direction.
Oh man, we have a vision for this big warehouse. We're not going to do anything until we have this big warehouse and everything in place.
You just kept maxing
So
out.
we just kept like
But-
being super excited about what God's doing now, but still having a vision for more. But this is what we're doing right now.
Somewhere along the line, we've learned to trust that God actually has a plan, and that if we take the next step that we know to
Yeah.
do, then the next one opens up. And we don't have to have everything figured out before we start.
Absolutely.
The Bible
That's
does
called faith.
The Bible does talk about you don't start building a tower without counting the cost, but it also talks about stepping out in faith and trusting that God has a plan. And I would say we probably err on that side more than on the side of trying to figure everything out before we start.
Well, the fruits of it are huge. So let's talk about where you guys are now, volumes, and then start talking about some dreams and not so dreams, just current expansion. Talk about where you guys are now, volume-wise.
So far this year, we're a little over 20 million pounds of food distributed,
Okay.
which equates to somewhere 65,000 meals a day.
Wow. Wow.
And there's almost 900 organizations that we've served this year. The food comes from over 200 different sources. Volunteers, the last 365 days, we're almost at 120,000 volunteer hours recorded.
Wow.
And that's while the rest of the world is experiencing a labor shortage. So,
Correct. There's no labor shortage if people are passionate
If they
about
have-
what
if
they're
they-
doing.
if
If
they
they have
have
a
a passion,
purpose.
yep.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all passion. It's all
Yep.
passion and purpose.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, and it's fun. My office is on the first floor, so I hear when they start arriving, and the volume just goes up. Not because they're happy to be
Yeah.
here,
Oh,
greeting each
absolutely.
other. They're excited about getting in there.
There's
and
times when I'm sitting up in my office and I can hear the volunteers singing. And that's pretty touching because
Yeah.
they're just loving what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Uh,
I
And-
did notice that they were seeming like they had a good time.
Oh,
Yeah.
very much.
I also like that there's people of all ages too. Like I know there were some young kids, like a lot younger than me, even just going to help out
Yeah.
for a good
Yeah.
cause. It was good to see.
Oh, it's great because not only are they doing good, but they're actually pulling stuff out of the landfill. So for some people, that might be kind of the inspiration in addition to helping others.
Yeah.
But you're just pulling stuff out. Why don't you explain the business model just so people have an understanding for how this works?
Yeah. Well, so if you think about a large organization that handles 100 semi-loads of fresh produce a day, if they have one load of waste, they want to make sure they have enough of product to serve their customers, so they order enough of stuff. Well, now instead of sending to the landfill whatever they can't use, because they don't want to deal with 40 organizations every day.
Right.
On the other hand, find a food bank that wants a semi-load of fresh produce every day. You just don't.
No.
So for the organization, it's cheaper to just send it to the landfill, just to get it off their docks. It's product that's no longer being sold to retail because it's too far gone. and they know they're not going to sell it to retail, they got to move it on. Now they can actually donate it and get a tax write-off for it. We can utilize that to serve the organizations that are actually serving the community, serving the needs of the people in the community, and still utilize this is, we're talking fresh product that is, yesterday was being sold to retail, today they got to get rid of it. Today they got to move it on because it's too far gone to send it to retail.
So explain to me, that's at your distribution warehouse. You guys accept the truckloads, separate everything out, organized. You guys would not believe the organization of this warehouse. These guys are expanding. We'll talk about that too. But from there, they get packed into boxes that get redistributed, and some goes down to your Franklin Street operation. Just tell me about how it goes after it's at your facility.
So when it comes into the dock, so Franklin Street will want a skid of this.
Yep.
Say they want 8 skids of this semi-load that just came in right now. Well, 4 of the skids are determined that after the ones that we just send over are all, then these are going to go over, which might be in a day or so, and yes, they're going to be good, and all those variables taking into consideration, and and these 2 skids need to be sorted. They're just not right. There's
Sort of like you two. They're just
yeah,
not right.
exactly.
I mean,
Well,
to be
done.
quite
Dodge
honest.
dodge that bullet.
oh, yeah, well, I have other issues with you, Baldy.
So here's a skid of, for example, zucchini squash. 90% of them are beautiful, but there is some rotten ones in here. So what the
Yes.
volunteers will do is sort
Oh,
that.
we saw that. It was amazing.
Sort that out, and
What we saw was very impressive with the volunteers on that scale. But to do this scale, I'm imagining this is a lot. Is there automation also involved in some of this cutting and processing? Because that might be the next level.
there'll be some on it. So like a machine to dice,
Yes.
something. But so there's this unique balance. So if we get into too much automation, it becomes
Non-volunteer.
non-volunteer, and we got to pay someone a
A
high
skilled
skill.
professional
Right.
to operate the
Professional.
machine.
Right. So I
So
see.
so there's a balance that we need. So where we have practical equipment that makes it efficient, but not taking it too automated where volunteers
You
can't even
lose.
it's so high tech that
Yes.
the
Yeah.
grandma coming in can't even help.
Right.
You know
and
what I'm saying?
that is the balance, because I feel the passion that your organization, and I know from attending your banquet, which was amazing, what you guys are looking to do, and that scale is amazing. You may not know how you're getting there, but you know you're going to get there.
Yeah.
And I mean, just to think about all that you can do with that dehydrator that's just, I think that's such a game changer
Yeah.
for this.
Well, our goal is to have a container load of dehydrated product a week that come out of that facility, and we believe that's a low goal. We believe we can easy attain that, and with that, dehydrated product is about 20% of fresh.
Correct.
So we're looking at, if we're cutting off half, by the stems, anything that's bad, we're probably looking at about 10 semi-loads of fresh product a week to make 1 container load of finished dehydrated product.
Wow. That's a lot of diversion. That's amazing.
And then anything that we can't use, that the stems, anything gets cut off, we want to put it in a methane digester, where this stuff will decompose in a methane digester. We capture the gases off of that to run a generator to provide our electricity, heat the building, and also provide fuel to then run the dehydrator to dry the rest of it.
I just heard a
did you
closed
get
loop
that?
sustainable program, which is what Sod Metal Recycling is
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
about, and Lancaster County Solid Waste, and I'm sure there's other partners
Yeah.
who would be very excited by that. That's closed loop processing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no waste in any of it.
Yeah.
Scott, why don't you tell us a little bit about your short journey with this crew and how you got involved with these two?
Yeah. So I've been in business about 30 years, training and development. worked for software, worked for a local manufacturer, and was actually looking for a job and had time on my hands, and was literally, as I was riding my bike one day, praying about, Lord, who can I help? Like, I've got this time, I can do training for somebody, just, and literally at that moment, I looked to the left and saw the Blessings of Hope building, and I had met David last year at a Live to Lead thing at Calvary Church, heard their mission, thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever heard. So it was a great opportunity to connect up with them, and I went in with the offer of, how can I help you with any training you need? And instead they turned around and said, well, what are you looking for a job? And I was just shocked, and I left an hour and 15 minutes later with a job offer.
Yeah.
And it's been wonderful, because I'm passionate about organizations, I'm passionate about vision, culture, all these things that I've worked with, and to see where these guys are at.
It's theory, worked theory. I mean, you worked with people in that theory forever.
Yeah.
But when you see that activated and run with the level of efficiency that it's run,
Yeah.
it's inspiring, isn't it?
Well, and the thing I love is everybody I talk to, I don't know if I've told you guys this, they all go, it's like hanging onto a rocket.
Yes.
And it's just like,
Well,
the
look
rocket's
at
taking
the
off,
two
and we're all hanging on.
astronauts. We got John Glenn over here, and I'm not sure who Neil Armstrong is. But
Yeah,
it is.
point taken. And it's fun. I mean, people are just, it's like nowhere else they've ever been. And everybody says, and it never will be. So that's delightful.
The energy's contagious. You can feel
Absolutely.
it from you guys. You can sense it. I want all of our viewers just to understand, Todd and I, when we did this walkthrough, and just from meeting these guys, these are just genuine quality people who you can trust. And sometimes trusting with a donation is tough. You don't know exactly what administrative costs are. You don't know all of that. But I will say, from being at the banquet, Aaron, I want you to retell the story that your wife shared with us. And that, to me, she wasn't even trying it, but the story she told spoke to the values that you guys operate with from a waste not point of view, and just from you understand your roots. Why don't you share the story?
So, which part? The part about
The boxes.
Yeah, so-
the boxes spoke to me, buddy.
So-
well, everything about her. I mean, she's just a wonderful woman.
So when I was meeting with the pastor, and then this was in 2010, and
Okay.
we're like, so he's like, can you pack 7 boxes a week for us, that we're helping these 7 families. So instead of just getting a bunch of random stuff, you pack 7 boxes a week, and we give it. I was like, yeah, I think we can do that. And on the way home, I'm thinking, okay, I think I just committed to 7 boxes a week on a consistent basis. I got home, I told my wife about the meeting and about what was going, and she's like, are you crazy? That is a lot of food. And I was like, yeah, that is a lot of food, but God's going to provide somehow. And this was in 2010, 7 boxes a week. Okay, so all right,
It would
let's-
usually take most of the day to pack these 7 boxes, because we had to find what we had that we can put
yeah,
in.
it was a big process, and to where we are now, I mean, it was a process all the way through.
Sure.
During COVID, I think the most we packed in one day was 6,700. That's 7
day.
tractor trailers.
Yes, that's crazy.
One
That's
day.
crazy. And I remember her saying the passion she felt. She was like, you guys had to scrape for the physical boxes, and now you're being given boxes,
Yeah.
and she won't waste a single box. She's
Yeah.
like, she can't.
So banana box. So the other day we were, this is probably the part you were talking about. So we were burning some trash, some junky box and stuff, and we had a banana box that was fairly decent yet. And she's like, we can't burn this box. And I'm like, but it's not 100% like perfect anymore. I
Right.
mean, you're not going to want to blessings of hope.
It's like a
because-
3-stool pepper.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
you
she's
can have that.
she's like, but we worked so hard to get it, gather enough of boxes together to pack our boxes. We'd be doing 150 boxes, and we count how many boxes we have, We got 130 boxes. We're going to need 20 more boxes. Okay, we're going to have to find 20 more boxes. Okay, so when these boxes get empty from the stuff we're putting in the boxes, that's going to be 10 more.
Yes.
So that's, now we're down to 10. And okay, so if we restack this stuff out of banana boxes into other boxes that are not good boxes, we'll have 10 more.
All I can say.
And we would do those things
Yes.
and be excited doing
Yeah.
it. It wasn't just
But it's Exhibit A that you guys know where you come from. You will never forget where you come from.
Yeah.
As big as you get, you have those values that will drive you.
yeah.
And that's why people can feel confident donating, because I know I could feel the passion she had for that. And
Yeah.
that's how you operate.
Yeah.
And that speaks to the values
Yeah.
you have. So, initiatives that the public can help with. Obviously, you have a 5-month waiting list on volunteers. I'm sure you would love to see, and you guys should, your organization should go over and just be part of that. It's very rewarding. But so what are some ways that people can help financially?
Donations are, coming up here at the year end. We probably need to raise another $1.5 million in operations,
Okay.
which is about what we had last year for the last quarter. So, capital projects. We're doing a project in Elizabethtown. We're doing a project in Kentucky. We're actually getting ready to launch a $25 million capital project, or capital campaign, which would include the multiple different locations, as well as initial extra operating expenses and an endowment fund, just to help long term make sure the properties stay up and stay operating, where the interest of the endowment fund would keep the properties running. So
Okay.
we're working with a consultant on that, so that'll probably be coming out in the next 3 to 6 months. So.
Okay. And other than just donating, you have a very unique way that does feed your organization, the vouchers. I think that's a really interesting thing. And actually, let me backtrack. Can one of you guys speak to the Selection Center, the Ministry Selection Center? Because I
Yeah.
don't think we covered that.
One portion of our organization is we have the whole building is 29,000 square foot, but we have somewhere 22,000 square foot selection center set up where we just have skids of product setting out. We have shelves stocked with product, where organizations can come in and whatever they need to restock their pantry at whatever volume they need is what they can get.
Okay.
And we also allow volunteers to select food after a volunteer shift. And now we have a new program that just came out last week where we have a packet of vouchers. There's 10 vouchers in a packet where you can make a $250 donation, get a packet of these vouchers, and give it out to 10 people that that need food. They can come into our facility there at Franklin Street and fill a box of food with whatever they can put in the box.
Why don't you talk about the difference between filling a box for yourself and standing in line and getting things shoved at you? What's the difference? And what's the usage difference?
What we're seeing is you can do one level of outreach where you're packing 1,000 boxes on an assembly line. Every box gets the same product.
Right.
The people getting that box, yes, they're going to appreciate the food. Yes, they're going to use a good portion of it. But there's always going to be stuff they're not going to use. Whereas if we give them an empty box and say, here, go fill this box, they're going to select what they're actually going to use. And then they're going to utilize 100% of what they take. Or that would be the hopes.
Absolutely. And this ministry selection place, if you have a voucher, you have access, correct? At any time. It's
Correct.
Monday to Friday?
Monday to Saturday.
Monday to Saturday.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We're open 6 days a week. You can go to blessingsofhope.com. The program I was just talking about is Sharing Hope. So blessingsofhope.com/sharing hope.
Okay.
And read up on the program, order the vouchers online. We'll mail them out to you. And you'll get a tax deductible receipt for the donation that you make for
Excellent.
those
And
vouchers.
we'll put all this information in our notes. Final thing, and this is so dangerous, watch out. The rocket is getting launched. If you were to dream, what's the biggest dream? And that is such a dangerous question. I'll give you each a short amount of time to tell us your biggest dream for this
You go first.
organization.
I was thinking you would go first.
I was thinking you would go first.
Well, our biggest dream is to end world hunger
Okay.
and actually help people understand the value of doing little things right and being bringing value to the community and in exchanging, getting value for the value that they brought. You know, one of the things that we have a challenge with is we don't just want to be the next handout. We actually want to educate people, give them a hand up, give them a new outlook on life, so they're not in this position in 10 years or 5 years that they are today. Our goal is that the people that are receiving food in a few years are able to then get a job, you know, get back on their feet, give back to the community that was then supporting them, you know, long term.
Understood. The scary thing is, when I met David, he said, "Oh, you haven't met our visionary." I was like, I was pretty clear I was meeting the visionary here. So who's the nut job you're going to introduce me to? And then I see Aaron. So this is a dangerous question, but what is the biggest dream?
So like David shared, like the big stream overall is like ending world hunger.
Okay.
But ending world hunger is a portion of that. So hunger is a portion where then empowering communities, so empowering the church to be the church.
Okay.
That is really the focus, the heartbeat of it. So if a church is reaching out to 10 people that
Right.
are struggling, that church can pray for them. They can help them work through the challenge, cry with them, when
Right.
a loved one passed away, so forth, and be there for and build community.
Yes.
So-
Which is the thing that's most missing.
Yeah.
So Blessings of Hope, I see as a vehicle to help build community and bridge those gaps that then, so we can look at the logistics of all this stuff. Yeah, it's going to take distribution centers all across the United States and other countries. It's going
I
to
saw
take,
the map, I know.
Yeah,
I saw the planned map, and let me
it's
tell
going
you.
to be strategically placed.
Uh-huh. Thank you for visioning him.
yeah.
That's what I said. If he's not the visionary, who's the nut job running this?
So strategically placed selection centers. So, so I see a part of the vision. David sees a part of the vision. So we had this going back and forth for probably 3 to 4 years. David kept saying he sees that sometime we're going to have a location like in every small town, like one here, one
Yeah.
in Elizabethtown, one in Columbia, one in, and I'm like, but that doesn't follow the big distribution model. So we had this. So I was seeing a part of it. David was seeing a part of it,
Okay.
and now it's coming together.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, so the way this distribution center works in Lancaster, every town, every city needs one of these.
Yeah. That's serving
That's serving
needs
this
of the
area.
community.
Sure.
Here's the cool part about this. When David said, "There's no end to the amount of food that's available." Like you think,
That-
what's the
that
scalability
There's
of this?
no
And
scarcity.
It just
doesn't
is
sound.
getting the physical location in a place where it can be distributed geographically, and if you cover the country with that, all of this stuff that's filling landfills and going wasted, that's good product, is getting to the people who use it. And oh, by the way, if they volunteer for Blessings of Hope to help with that,
Right.
they're buying it at 45 cents a
No,
pound.
they're not
and
buying any food.
Right. Well, they're
sponsoring
they're
the cost to
donating.
distribute it.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the just, on the other hand, the volume of people in America that are going to bed hungry, I think it's 50 million people.
Right.
Which is
just-
equivalent to the entire population of Pennsylvania, Maryland, New York, New Jersey, and Delaware,
Right.
including New York City. That's
Right.
how many people in America are considered food insecure, while we're wasting 40% of what we produce. There's
And-
something wrong with this picture.
Absolutely.
And when we go to global food waste and global numbers, so there's numerous different studies on how much of the global waste would end world hunger. So the highest number, so we're going with the highest number. If 50% of the global waste, we can still waste half of what we waste.
right.
if 50% of the waste was redirected, it would end world hunger.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Right.
y-
You
the numbers and the opportunities
And,
just
on
staggering.
the other hand, the entire population of North and South America, Africa, and Australia are suffering from food insecurity in
Right.
numbers.
Right. So, we've heard a lot. I'm going to go back. I said that was my last question, but I need one more because I think this is the heart of it. Tell me about the work ethic you grew up with and how that inspires and how that leads to how you operate your organization today. Give us a little sense of that.
I mean, I would have.
To you, it's second nature. To you, nothing you say is going to sound unusual.
Yeah.
But to a lot of people, it probably will.
Yeah. So I grew up in a, you know, we were pretty poor. My dad had a shop. You know, everything was a resource. You know, we didn't waste stuff. Like, it wasn't like you just you just buy more, whatever, you just throw it away, waste it. I mean, that was just not the way we lived. And like, we got out before school, and we had a chore to do before we went to school.
Sure.
You know, everybody got engaged, and everybody, like the whole family got engaged, and the whole family helped make the family run.
Yeah.
And so, just that even that mindset of like, it wasn't like I was being a victim or anything. It was
No, it was
like
assumed. And
it was
just
a
what it
part
was.
of the life, and everybody pitched in, and everybody had fun doing it. You know,
Were you on a farm or no?
we weren't on a farm. There was a few acres, but I helped the neighboring farm. You know, if they were baling hay, you know, as a 9-10-year-old, I'd go help them. You know, I remember. So they bale hay, and around the corner sometimes they'd miss a little bit. So my job was to gather that missed hay and put it on the next row.
Sounds like what you're
To-
doing right now.
And
Great.
it actually does. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, see?
Gather that up and put it on the next row so that when the baler comes along, he
Yep.
can get everything.
What about you, my friend?
Well, I grew up on a dairy farm, so I had chores, you know, learned the work ethic from early on, some of it willingly.
Yeah, I'm sure. And no child labor law was
Yeah.
left behind in your family.
No, we, you know, before we went to school in the morning, I think we usually left for school around 7. I had to, you know, get up and feed the calves and feed the horses and be ready to go to school by 7 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, as an 8-year-old, if I slept in till 6, that was sleeping in, you know. And
Yep.
when I was 13,
You wouldn't make it, my friend. You're close.
Early
Now,
guy.
you are an early guy, and you're the best and the brightest. But this is different level.
So when I was 13, we moved to Indiana, Wayne County, Indiana, close to Richmond, and we were farming. And when I was 17 to 19, I think it was 2 or 3 years there, that we were farming around 400 acres with horses. And there was myself and 2 of my brothers, 2 of my sisters, and then we had 2 hired boys yet. But we were milking 2 herds of cows, which was close to 100 cows that we were milking twice a day. We were farming 400 acres, and on the side we did custom hay wrapping. And there were days I would leave at 4 o'clock in the morning and come home after midnight of
Yes.
just swinging hay bales all day,
Yes.
wet hay. So we're talking 80 to 120 pound hay bales, and I loved it. It was those were some of the best years of my life, you know.
And that's where you built the teamwork
Yeah.
and togetherness and the
You know,
camaraderie and community.
When the hay was ready to bale and it was 90 degrees and humid, you baled hay. You know,
Right.
that's what
Right.
you did. There was,
And
There wasn't a heat index
And-
warning?
I don't know.
Okay. I don't think you were
Yeah.
told.
We didn't have any TV to tell us it's too warm to work, so Dad's like, work.
That's it.
and you know, some people have this idea. They look at that like that's like awful. It was not awful.
It was
was
fun.
a
We loved it.
blast. I
Yes.
really loved it. It was like, I mean, it felt good. Getting soaked with sweat. It was like amazing.
Felt like
right?
you went to bed and
My
you slept.
crew knows that. They torch metal on 95-degree
Yeah.
days,
Yeah.
correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that teamwork you build is it, right?
And-
Because you know you can work in the worst of times. You can get through anything.
Yep.
It even makes the team stronger because you're all going through like the hard times together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then there's days, not that busy, it's a rainy day or something, you just sleep.
You hang
there.
out in the dumpster. You come out
Yeah,
and hang out in the
there you
dumpster. See, that's what today is for. Wow. This could go on for hours. Again, we could grow our hair back. Not happening. Thank you for your time and this. Thank you guys
You're
for
welcome.
your.
Thank you for inviting us.
This has been wonderful, and it's been more beneficial for us than it's been for you. Thank you very much, and have a great time.